A lot of people, every time I tell this story, they said this is unbelievable. I just threw it in the garbage, right?
Oh,
So
that's a good
no,
point. Oh,
it rivaled it. I'm telling Jamaicans, come on,
oh man.
shamefully, shamefully so. Big
Oh,
mistake, big mistake, big mistake.
oh
One of the
man.
great regrets of my life.
Hello and welcome to our immigration stories as told by Canadian immigrants. I'm your host, Christina McPherson, and each week we're going to dive into the real, the raw, and the inspiring journeys of immigrants who have made Canada their home.
Hello and welcome. We are here with Roger Dundas. He's the publisher and co-founder of ByBlacks.com, an amazing Black Canadian doing amazing things and celebrating and highlighting the excellence of Black Canadians. So we're here today to find out his immigration story because he came here 24 years ago, right?
24.
Shortly after I was born. Just kidding. So he came here 24 years ago, settled in Canada as an immigrant, and he's doing amazing things 24 years later. So we're catching up with him to find out his story and just all about blacks.com and highlighting Black Canadian excellence. Roger, thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm so glad that we got introduced by Ricardo McCrae.
I know. Actually, on that point, guys, I want to just highlight the importance and magic of networking.
Yes.
Networking. That is how Roger and I are talking today. I was going to Halifax to network. Somebody sent an email on my behalf. Roger responded, connected me with other people that it's amazing. So thank you so much for responding and being
You're
so
welcome.
responsive.
You're welcome.
So help me to understand your Canadian journey and how you came to Canada.
Well, it's funny that it started with a woman, actually. My girlfriend at the time in late 90s. She was studying in the US and she was there on a student visa. And I guess we were thinking, okay, we're gonna find somewhere for us to go. Because I think at that time I realized that I didn't want to be in Jamaica anymore
Yeah.
at that point. And she said, we have some friends. She has some friends in Canada, and they were able to apply using the sole professional. I can't remember the exact name, but it was
Okay.
the professional route. So if you're a professional
Okay.
accountant, whatever, you could apply for yourself, and you would stand a better chance of immigrating to Canada.
Okay.
So so both of us, she actually got, this is also to show you how long ago this was. She got the documents. I guess she downloaded it or got it from a Canadian embassy and mailed the
Mm-hmm.
package to me in Jamaica. Mailed it, and then I made copies of it and filled it out and had it, completed. So I completed everything, and then we broke up. so so we broke up, and it was interesting because at the time I'm like, well, I didn't even, in a way, yes, I wanted to leave, but Canada wasn't really somewhere I was like really thinking, yeah, go and live.
Yeah.
But I think in '98 there were a couple incidents that happened, and the crime was really getting out of hand. And I said, you know what? Maybe it's time to leave. And I submitted that application in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
In I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was November
Okay.
1998. So I submitted the application. As I said, it was already completed from, I think, from 97, and I had just put it down. Like everything was filled out. So 98 submitted it. They responded to me in December 98 saying, okay, you need some more information.
Mm-hmm.
Provided that additional information. I think it had to do with um, investments. So provided
Okay.
the information on the investments that I had. I owned a house at the time and everything in Jamaica. And and then they responded again and said, okay, you need to do your physical. So that's a final thing, right? When you have to do
Okay.
the
Yeah.
medical side. So
Mm-hmm.
I did the medical, like I had a final date, like would you say like the 23rd of June or something like that.
Okay.
And I did the medical then, and then everything was fine. And they said, okay, you need to get to Canada by the 23rd of June, 2000.
A year.
2000. Yes. 1 year,
Okay.
exactly 1 year after. So
Right.
I stretched that thing out right down till I think I came here June 12th,
Yeah.
2000. That year, I traveled so much. Because in my mind, I was like, okay, you're going to go there. You're going to have to get a job. You're not going to have any leave. At that point, I was still like in employee mode, right? So I remember I went to Atlanta, DC, Florida. I
Everywhere
went
but
to,
Canada.
yeah, everywhere. No, well, I was coming to Canada. So, I mean, I had my thing to come to Canada. I went to Europe, I went to France, London, Belgium. I
In
went
that
to,
year?
in that year, I went to Cayman. Because in my mind, I'm like, you know what? You're never gonna have this time to
Yeah.
travel like this again for a long time. So while you are, when you get to Canada, it's just hunker down and work, find a job and
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that was that. That was interesting. It was a really nice 12 months. I won't lie. I did a lot of things in Jamaica too, different tourist things that I wanted to do. As I said, different
Yeah.
places I wanted to travel to. So I did all of that. And then I landed, right?
Okay.
So
Good.
I remember I remember landing and I a friend of mine picked me up from the airport. He took me to another friend. I was supposed to stay at her mom's house. And when I got there, I saw a lot of boxes in the house. She was in a townhouse in Scarborough. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, she just moved in. Right? That's what I was thinking. Because I was supposed to be living with her. Right?
Yeah.
For a few months until I got myself all situated, only to find out that she had
She's
sold her
moving out.
house and she was moving out. So now I realize I'm just landed in Canada and I
You
really
have
have
nowhere to
nowhere
live.
to live.
Oh my
So
gosh.
my friend's brother knew a guy
Yeah.
who was in the condos across from Scarborough Town Center, and
Okay.
he owned one of them and was renting it to a lady. And it was a
Okay.
2 bathroom, and I ended up renting that one room plus a
Okay.
bathroom in
Interesting.
July of 2000. So I came here June 12th, and by July, I had to rent my own space. So that was my introduction to Canada, right? At the
Wow.
time, this is 2000.
Yeah.
I don't have a computer, right? If I need
Okay.
to, yeah, that's 24 years ago. I didn't have a
Yeah.
laptop for myself. I had
Mhm.
a desktop, which I had left in Jamaica,
Of
right?
course.
Um, so I'm looking for jobs. I'm
Mm-hmm.
scoring on the place. I'm an accountant, so I'm looking for accounting jobs.
Okay. Right.
I heard that this company called Robert Half is one of the top recruiting firms. So I go to Robert Half. I meet with the recruitment advisor. What do you call them? Recruiting consultants.
Yeah.
And and the guy looked at me and he said, um, I don't think I'm going to be able to place you in a permanent role because you don't have any Canadian experience.
Mhm.
So I think you're going to have to, there's another group that they have called account temps. And he said, it would be good to work with them first and then get some experience. And then maybe we could see if we can place you. So that was disappointing because most of my friends that were here, we're all accountants. We had like 4 friends. They all got accounting or audit jobs,
Yeah.
in decent firms. So
Yeah.
it's like, wow,
Before
this
you
is
came?
before. Yeah, they were here from like some of them were here from '98, some of them were
Okay.
from
Okay. Okay.
'99.
Okay.
I pretty much came. I think of my closest friends, the three of them would have been here before me, right? So
Okay. Mm-hmm.
so you're applying for jobs. It's serious. I'm sending out resumes. I'm talking to different people, and people are trying to help me and getting this and getting that, and nothing is happening, right?
Wow.
I'm burning through the little money that I have,
Of
right?
course.
I don't have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
money, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to be paying rent now and everything, and I'm hustling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I thought about doing before I came, I was very interested in doing psychology for some
Okay.
strange reason. And I used to subscribe to Psychology Today. I said, maybe I need to switch my
Oh.
career from accounting, auditing to psychology. So when I did get here, one of the things I would do is I'd go to the library. As I said, I didn't have a computer to look for the jobs. So one day, went to the library, the one that's at the Chinese Cultural Center, Tapscott and Shepherd, I think it is. Right?
Okay.
So it was walking distance from where I was staying initially. And so I go up there, and it was a Tuesday, and the library was closed for whatever the reason. And
Tuesday.
Yeah, it was weird. But at the front of the library, there's like a reception desk. On the reception desk are various pamphlets, different pamphlets of different things, different places, different organizations. And one of them was very interesting to me. It was with the Scarborough Distress Center. And it was, if you want to, help people, etc. I said, this would be a good way for me to figure out really if I'm interested in psychology, as I think I am. Right.
All right.
So
Distress center.
Yeah, distress center, of course, right?
Okay.
So I at the time I'm still at the original location. I haven't moved to the condo. So I remember my friend's sister lived in the same complex as her mom. And so I went over to the sister's house. I had the pamphlet. I put it down on their side table. And I guess the sister came home and she said, "Hey, who put this pamphlet here?" And I said, "It was me." And she said, "Oh, I just started volunteering at this organization, and they have a workshop coming up this weekend."
Okay.
This is a Tuesday, right? This is Tuesday. So I'm like, "What?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "You should come to the workshop." So I go with my friend's sister to the workshop.
A volunteer.
Of being a volunteer, yeah. So I'm a volunteer. Okay. So
yeah,
it's a process. So we did a tour. We did another workshop, all-day workshop. So I remember I went there and I said, "Okay, I'm in job mode." So I'm like, the only time I can do this is like on a day that I don't think there would be any interviews. So like Sunday. So I picked a Sunday now, right?
Okay.
So I go there on this Sunday. It's in July, and I picked this lady, and I don't know this lady from nowhere, right? Nowhere at all. Now I've moved into my condo, so I'm living in the condo now, right across from Scarborough Town Center.
Right.
True story. A lot of people, every time I tell this story, they said this is unbelievable. So I'm in the distress center. I'm doing the calls. The lady's beside me. She's a white woman. As I said, I've never met her before. We start talking. So in between the calls, she take the call and she'd talk. She says, she asked me what I do. I said, I recently immigrated from Jamaica. I'm an accountant. I'm an ACCA, British accountant. She said, "Oh, I'm a CGA, or I think it was a CGA or a CMA. She could have been a CMA." And she said she worked for this little company called Compaq, right? Remember Compaq, computer company?
Oh, right. Oh.
It's not a little company, it's a huge company.
Yeah.
So she said she works there. I said, "Hey, she said, so what are you doing?" I said, "I'm looking for jobs." She said, "My company is looking to fill 4 positions right now. 4, right? 4 finance positions." So she said, "Why don't you give me your resume?" She gave me her business card. So send me a resume and I can see what happens. Right? So we get to the end of the session, right? She looks at me. I look at her and I said, by the way, this session was 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. So it's not too far. It's not too far from my house. It's about 25 minutes walk, but it's 11 p.m. And I know that they had said that there were some taxi chips that you could use if you leave there that late, right? So we're searching down the whole office, can't find these taxi things. So she said, "You know what? Forget it. I'll just drop you home."
Drop you home.
She said, "Where do you live?" I said, 88 Corporate Drive. She said, "Get out. I live at 88 Corporate Drive." I'm on I've never seen this woman in my life. I'm on the 17th floor because she's getting up, going to work. I'm lounging around. Exactly. I ain't got no job, right?
Yeah, man.
So I live on the 17th floor. I think she lived on the 26th floor. That woman took me home that day. We left. I said, "Thank you." Hell of a coincidence. We laughed about it. Good. She emailed me. So this was like late July.
Okay.
She emailed me and she said, "I spoke with the people at my office. They're interested. Bring me 4 printed copies of your resume Tell you, this
Okay.
is like back in the day, right?
Yeah. Ancient times. Donkey and cart. Print out 4 of them, okay? And you
Four
had to go to the
different.
library to get that email.
No. So I got it printed from a friend at a friend's house. She said, meet me at the second floor of the building. We live in the same building. I don't see her again, right? That day that she dropped me off, I didn't see her again.
Yeah,
She
it's easy
said,
to do that.
meet
Yeah.
me on the second floor. So this is Caravana Saturday, by the way. She's heading up north to go to some cottage or something. I'm going to Caravana. My friends are waiting on me, but I said, no, this is important. I got to meet with this woman. So I meet with her. She tells me about the company, the department, the managers, the 4 managers that are hiring, and she gives me an idea of what the roles would be. She was a treasury manager, right? We leave again. She gone with my resumes and everything. I get a call, I think, the following week. Two of the managers not interested, 2 are interested. Come and do the interviews with the 2 that are interested.
Okay.
Long story short, I ended up working at Compaq, working directly for the general accounting manager and the controller
Wow.
of that.
Right? And this is because you volunteered at a distress center because you thought you should switch to psychology. It's
Crazy.
so unbelievable,
It's just
right?
unbelievable. This is the part that really gets me. This lady who is like a guardian angel to me.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I didn't have a car either. I didn't own a car. I didn't have a car. Every now and then I'd rent a car to do some things, but now need to get to work now, right? Work is starting. This is September now. Work is starting. It's starting to get cool. She took me to work every day and dropped me back home. We live in the same building.
Amazing. Yeah.
Every day. There were 1 or 2 days that she couldn't do it. Maybe she had an appointment or whatever. There was another lady, a Jamaican woman, who worked in the revenue department. And she lived in Pickering. I was in Scarborough. And she would drop me. She said, anytime you'd have a drive, I will drop you home.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's funny. The one day that neither of them could take me to work, and I had to take the bus to work. I didn't even know the bus route, to be honest with you, because I'd never done it, right?
Oh, you don't have Google Maps. Oh my goodness.
Google Maps. You gotta go where? Where would I have gone? Got on a map and
Or a
look
map,
at it
yeah.
and find out when. And so I remember, I didn't have the nice thick jackets that I have today. I remember you were talking about your shoes on one of your shows, get proper shoes. I was in this nice fancy leather jacket. I had it on. I said, I'm gonna go take the bus. So it was so cool. My eyes were tearing up and it was freezing on my face. That's how cool it was. I remember, and ironically, that was the day in November that I was picking up my car. My godmother co-signed for me to get a vehicle. I had to drive. She was at the time running a nursing home in Napanee. I had to drive all the way out to Napanee to meet
Where's
her. It's on the way to Montreal. It's past Belleville, before Kingston, right?
Far.
So that's where she was. I had to go all the way to Napanee to collect a car from the dealer, her dealer. And that is my first year story of being in Canada. Now, interestingly enough, the same guy who had gone to at Robert Half, he called me in the December. I said, hey, yes, I see that you got, a job and it's great. Congrats and blah, 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 blah. And then I realized after the fact that he was mining me for information. So you wanted to know, like, were there any staff changes? Was there any opportunity for him to potentially place somebody? Or that's what they do. So recruiters will call.
Oh, recruiters. Got it.
The recruiter will
the
call you. No. The recruiter will call you if you've done an interview with them to see, what's happening, and then to just ask you stuff like, hey, are you, is the staff complement together? Do you guys need any more staff? Or is there anybody, looking to hire any new people, blah, 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 So the same guy who wouldn't place me, he called me up and he was trying to mine me for information. But that's fine. I realized it's just a job, because I ended up working at Robert Half in 2006. So 6 years later, I was working at Robert Half.
That's an eventful first story. Like
It's
the events didn't really stop until after the 2 years or so, or
I,
6.
I would say once I got the job, then things kind of stabilized. So the next step
Yeah.
was I got a job
Car.
September, got a car, bought my first home here in April the following year.
Oh,
Uh, that condo, I paid $146,000 for a 1 bedroom condo in Thornhill. Can you believe that? Like, where would you go now and buy a 600 square foot 1 bedroom condo anywhere in,
it's
in
so
in the
bizarre.
GTA for
Nowhere,
$146,000? Crazy.
nowhere, nothing, nowhere.
I mean,
146,000 is a good car.
it's a Tesla.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I worked at Compaq. Compaq got acquired by Hewlett Packard,
Okay.
right? And then, things just got, because we were the underdog, right? Hewlett
Yeah.
Packard was the name that we were moving to. So things kind of got heady, I
Mm-hmm.
think, very, very intense.
Mm,
And I ended up resigning from there and going to work with a company called International Multifoods Corporation. And this company has gotten taken
valuable.
over. But Smucker's, great company to
Yeah.
work for. It was an amazing company. They really revolutionized my thought process about work and how people should be treated at work. And
Oh, that's good.
they put us in a new building.
Yeah.
We had a gym in the building, so I could just go, no gym membership. I just go to work out
Nice.
early, 6:30, showers there, shower at work, get ready, and at my desk at 8 o'clock, ready to work. They provided snacks, so they had jam, jelly, and they had bread there and all that, so you could get like a little snack, coffee. So it was
Nice.
nice. To me it was a good company, but it's just that I think at that point I'd been doing accounting since I was 16 years old, and this was
Okay.
2016. So this had been like 20 years of
Mm-hmm.
accounting, and I was tired of it, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Yeah.
I was good at it, but I was
Mm-hmm.
also tired of it. And I said,
Yes.
I want to go into the sales and marketing. Also, too, I had a friend who was in the marketing department, and I remember she would say, "Oh, the marketing team, they're going for," I said, like, what's your team doing for Christmas celebration, holiday celebration? They said, "Oh, we're gonna go to Niagara Falls for a night overnight, and blah 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 blah." And I think the finance department is going in the boardroom to have pizza and pop
Donuts.
from 12 to 2. Like, I'm definitely on the wrong team.
Yeah.
Wrong team. Wrong team. Because I mean,
Yes.
we're just the accountants are just tight, right? They're tight. So at that point, I think I decided in 2005 that I needed to change from finance and accounting and
Yeah.
move to marketing and sales. I'm going to Robert Half again, just serendipitously. It's just by coincidence. One of my team members, I believe, at Smuckers left
Yeah.
and went to work at Robert Half. And then
Okay.
he came back to me and said, "Hey, they're looking for people. Are you interested?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll meet with the branch manager," and met with her, and nice Jewish woman. And she said, yeah, we need some people like you working here. And I went to work at the Markham branch. At the time, the Markham branch was literally behind my condo.
Yeah.
So I didn't even drive to work. It was like a 5-minute walk.
Wow.
Yeah, to
Mm-hmm.
get to work. So I worked there from 2006 to 2010. But I would say that was probably the worst company to work. It's salespeople, and they're very
Okay.
aggressive. And you get now into the belly of the beast, and you're seeing racism firsthand.
Okay.
Multiple industries that you're trying to
Okay.
place people in. You're seeing discrimination by team members, different people, making fun of people's names.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy would look at the resume and say, "I can't pronounce this guy's name," and just throw it in the garbage, right?
Oh,
So
that's a good
no,
point.
yeah, it's crazy when I'm trying to place somebody from India, from the Philippines, from China, because I know their designation, I can see their work experience, I know that they're
Yeah.
gonna You know, it's easy to see. I meet with them, I understand what they're doing, and then I'm trying to place them, and then you get in a fight from the employers,
Ah,
right? So these are the different
okay.
challenges that I experienced there. That was a big eye
Yes.
opener to me. I
Yes.
feel like I never really understood Canada until I went to Robert Half,
Right. And they are a recruitment company. Is
one
that
of the
right?
biggest in the world,
Oh, wow.
one of the biggest in the world.
Wow. And you know that now that you mentioned that, there's two things that I kind of want to highlight. One, I did see a post on LinkedIn recently, saying that unfortunately, your name, just your name, could
Yeah,
get your resume bypassed.
yeah. So I got a Scottish name, right? Roger Dundas. It's a Scottish name.
Yes, the second thing I want to highlight is that most of the jobs positions that you've held were through networking. It
Yeah.
wasn't through any much of the efforts that you were doing, going and applying to jobs and sending applications. It was someone sitting
Well,
beside you and
but
then somebody calling.
the
Mm-hmm.
second job, the one that when I went to International Multifoods, it was through a recruiter, but he
Mm-hmm.
was a good friend of my good friend,
Networking.
right? But notwithstanding, you know, he
Mm-hmm.
had to. He was just doing his job, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, of course. Of
and he
course.
earned his
All of
money
them
off
are.
of my placement, so that's
Yeah.
fine, right?
Yeah.
But you're right, networking
Mm-hmm.
is crucial, right?
Yes.
And I would
Mm-hmm.
say to anybody, volunteering is
Yes.
crucial, and
Yes.
and helping people. Just
Mm-hmm.
you just never know.
You never know.
You never know who you hold a door open for, who
Yeah.
you let go in the line ahead of you,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Who you who's your neighbor. You
Mm-hmm.
just don't know who the
Oh, no.
people are, right? I
Yes.
I had no clue that lady was working at Compaq. I had no clue. I didn't know her.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know her, but whatever she saw in me that day, for the
Yeah.
mere fact that I was just there
Mm-hmm.
volunteering and I was a
Mm-hmm.
new immigrant,
Yeah.
I think that was what she used and said, well, you can't be all bad.
Yeah. Yeah, you mean she got tagged the whole day to spend with you, whatever. So your
It
personality
was
came
three
through.
hours. 3 hours. It was
Oh,
3 hours,
3 hours.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
for
Right.
that
So well,
session.
networking plus unfortunately, like you can't change your name, but I guess
No.
just understanding the reality of that,
What
unfortunately.
what I experienced at Robert Half though was that there were many Asian um applicants, the people that were looking for jobs, where they're like their first name might be Zai Ming and
Ah,
they would call themselves Joe.
yeah.
So Joe Chan. So right,
Mm-hmm.
so that's them, or if it's a woman, they change her name to Betty or
Mm-hmm.
Joan. You know, some as
Mm-hmm.
very simple name just to
Mm-hmm.
overcome those challenges. Or if
Yeah.
the person's name was Vishna Murthy, they would just say Vish for
Mm-hmm.
short, right?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that they would use to overcome the bias and the prejudices that they were experiencing. And they were
Yes.
experiencing it because I saw it. It
Yes.
wasn't just the irony of it is that it wasn't just visible minorities. It was also Europeans who are Caucasian. So
Yeah.
a guy coming from Russia with a Russian name too, he was feeling it too.
Okay. So
Right?
immigrants then.
It's just immigrants. It's non-British,
Ah,
non-English speaking British immigrants,
yeah.
if that will have, or non-French immigrants.
Mm,
So if you're
mm,
French or English, you're fine. If you're anything else, could be a problem.
yeah.
Could be a
Tricky.
bit of a problem. Yeah. And
Mm,
that's just something I think everybody's well aware of it. History has shown us that, the people have been discriminated against: the Chinese, the Japanese,
yeah.
the Italians,
Mm-hmm.
um, Russians. We've seen that. We've seen, and of course, South Asian,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
other Asians, Taiwanese, Vietnamese, everybody, and black.
Yeah.
We've all been
Yeah.
discriminated against.
Of course.
The thing is, who's doing the discriminating?
Yeah. All right. Well, actually, this is kind of brings us to the next thing I kind of want to talk about because you do a good job at highlighting Black excellence, immigrants, like what you said, like all of us, we never
Yeah.
born in a Canada, no Black person.
No, well, no, we can
Originating.
be. We could be born in Canada,
No, sorry,
but
originating, right? Because we have
but our
different
original,
generations.
yeah, but our original. It's funny too that when somebody would say they're Chinese Canadian or
Mm-hmm.
Japanese Canadian because
Mm-hmm.
they accept that their history, their lineage is really from somewhere else, right? And a
Exactly.
friend of mine, he says, not Black Canadians, but African Canadians is the real term to use,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, because Black is not a country.
Black is not a country, correct, correct.
Right.
But so this ByBlacks came about. It's a very interesting journey to get to
Yeah.
ByBlacks.
Yeah.
In 2006, when I decided to do sales and marketing, I also decided to start producing theater, dance.
Hey.
So try to produce these things. I at the time I was looking on just coming from Jamaica in 2000 and used to going to certain types of theater productions in Jamaica, and Jamaican theater and dance is amazing. Lacadco, NDTC, at the time, Kathy Levy,
Right.
and David Heron was one of the most popular playwrights. Trevor Rohn, really good, high quality productions. And I had 6 years and I never saw them up here. So I said,
Yeah.
you know what? Let me see if that's something that I could do. So I tried it. I tried
Yeah.
it. Nearly lost my shirt. I'll tell you that. Didn't really understand the marketing of that type of show,
Yeah.
and limiting the amount of performances and everything, trying to recoup the money by doing a lot of performances, and so started out doing Lacadco in 2006 at the Betty Oliphant. Fantastic production, terrible audience attendance.
Yeah.
Did play with Deborah Earhart. She had a one-woman show called Jamaica Farewell. Fantastic, great audience and great profit on that. So never
Okay.
made a loss producing any of her shows.
Right.
So worked with her a lot to do the show over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Then worked with David Heron. He had a play, went to see Love and Marriage in New York City in New York in 2007. Decided to bring it here in 2008. Made a loss on that. A great production. It's like amazing. Still trying, I said, okay, let me try again. Did another play of his called Ecstasy, which was one of the most popular plays in Jamaica. Uptown brown skin guy falls in love with a dark skin stripper, right?
Okay.
Craziness that could happen because of that. So we tried to produce that in I think it was 2010. And that was the last time I did any large production like that.
Yeah,
Again,
that was 4 years, right?
it was 4
2006 is when
years.
you started.
Yeah,
Good for you.
did a lot of productions. And so if you remember 2008, the market dipped,
Yeah.
right? So recruiting wasn't as profitable, and then market started falling off. Eventually I got laid off,
Okay.
right? Laid
Imagine
off,
that.
fired, whatever, 2010. And at that point, after having that experience there, I said, you know what? I don't even want to work corporate anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm done with
I
corporate.
wondered at what point that came up. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the experience, right? Of the different
Yeah.
people. And it's not just the team members. There are some team members, but more some of the clients too, and the people that you have to interact with. And,
Yeah.
you get to that point where you're like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired
Mm-hmm.
of this. I want to chart my own course. So
Yeah.
I was living at the time now at Bayview and Shepherd in a condo, and my apartment number was 404. And I said, I'm going to.
Oh, that's where the 404 media thing. Okay.
So I said, I'm going to start this company, 404 Media Group. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the name. Keep it simple, right?
Yeah.
So we started doing, because the one thing I did learn over those 4 years was marketing
Marketing.
and publicity, like
Yep.
what worked and what
Yep.
didn't work,
Didn't work.
right? So the one thing I knew is what didn't work. And I said, okay, I can offer this to people who are doing stage plays. Like I can tell them, look, don't waste your money doing this, do this instead. Right. So we started offering our services. And at the time, guerrilla marketing was a big thing. So still doing flyers and posters. And, I had this list of Caribbean and Black owned spaces across I'd say the GTA, Hamilton,
Yeah.
Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge, Barrie, all the way out to Oshawa at the time. Nothing was in Bowmanville at the time.
Right.
And then, so we would, all the way downtown, and I would have different teams of people that I would go to the place. I knew everywhere. So I'd go to the places myself first, and then I'd find somebody that's in that location and say, hey, you deal with Hamilton. Here's the flyers. Here's the this. Go put them up, blah, blah, blah. Go to the owners. And we're doing that. I would say that was a part of the services that we offered, in addition to social media and newsletters and etc. Right?
Okay.
So I'm looking on this list of businesses. So a lot of restaurants, barbershops, right? And the one thing I was noticing is that I would say at the time, over 75% of the businesses on that list didn't have a website.
Oh.
This is 2010, 2011.
Okay.
Right? Didn't have a website, barely. That's 13 years ago. Barely.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about where was I? I think I was
2010.
I was just starting university.
There you go. Barely had any type of social media because people then were like, "What's that foolishness, that man?"
No, we used to use Blackberries then.
Yeah, man. Yeah, field of dreams is what I always call it. Build it and they will come. That's the mentality. We cut here good so people will come. We cook good so people will come. Word of mouth. Everything is word of mouth. Word of mouth. Word of mouth. We're not spending money on them. But the lack of a presence was killing them. They weren't even seeing it. Online presence, right?
Right.
And that was the initial genesis idea for ByBlacks. Believe it or not, there were directory websites that existed. One was Black Pages, right? So
and that was Canadian. That was
they had Black Pages was run by the Jamaica Gleaner here. They had purchased it from somebody who had started a business. They didn't maintain it. So. And I was looking around. A friend of mine, he also had one, but his strategy was the person had to pay to be in the directory. And I'm thinking, no, you just make it free for people to add their business and then try to get advertising from the people that are coming there. A friend of mine, an old high school friend of mine, he's like, I really credit him with this, saying to me, he said, "But Roger, why would somebody keep coming back to a directory site? You find a thing once, you're not going to keep coming back. I mean, how much things are you going to be buying?" So, and I said, ooh, he said, what you need is content that changes, that there's new, fresh content all the time. Introduce Camille. So Camille and I had started dating. She was a journalist. She was working CP24.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Match made in heaven.
Match made in heaven. Match made in ByBlacks.
Yeah.
So I said, well, if you manage the editorial side, I'll manage the business side and, deal with the website maintenance and sales and all that. I'll do that part. I'll do the accounting too. I'll do all of that. And all you have to do is deal with writers and get people to write articles. So that's how the idea came about, right?
Yes.
Before we started. This is still 2011 now. 2011, yeah. We already have 4 Media Group going, right?
Yes.
I've left corporate now. She's working with CP24. Then something happened in 2012. I remember it was me, I'm an accountant first, so I was doing this business plan, trying to say, oh yeah, if we grow the number of this, that, and we can get this amount of sales and right. It looked nice on paper, but really and truly, I think just maybe 3-4 years ago, we achieved that business plan. Maybe 5 years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
And that was from 2012.
Correct, right? Okay. So August 2012, Sway magazine closed down. And they were a part of the Toronto Star. Sway magazine to me was one of the best Black focused magazines, because Toronto Star was behind it. I mean, they had good writers and excellent photographers, and the magazine looked pretty, and still have copies here. But they hadn't built out their online presence, because again, back then, nobody was really doubling down on online. You know? Nobody
Imagine
was
that,
doubling
eh?
down on online. No, 2012, 2012.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, I said, you know what? Print is dying.
Mm,
I'm going to focus on online only.
online. Mm-hmm.
Online, because I think that this is the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has a smartphone by the time
Mm-hmm.
BlackBerry, right?
Mm-hmm.
iPhone was just coming on in full swing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was online, right? Everybody have a computer now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is into the online, but a lot of people weren't realizing it. So
Yeah.
Sway shut down 2012. I said, let's fast track this thing. And I want us to launch ByBlacks in Black History Month
Mm-hmm.
2013. And that's what we did. February 17, 2013, we flicked that switch.
Yeah.
And it started from then.
Okay.
So that's the ByBlack story.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we got going. At first we started with a few writers. And we just kept on, I think we just kept on focusing on, as Camille would say, showcasing everyday Black excellence.
Yes.
Whereas, the mainstream media would showcase either the very
Celebrities.
best, right, the
Mm-hmm.
very best or the very worst.
Yeah.
We do everything.
Exactly.
We do
Exactly.
everything, right?
Yeah.
So that's been our shtick, and we've been able to successfully do that. And
Mm-hmm.
I told people at the time, I mean, people have even criticized me and said, "Oh, but you're Jamaican. Why you don't focus on telling more Jamaican stories?" I said, "Yeah, okay, Jamaica. A lot of Jamaicans are here,
Mm-hmm.
sure, in terms of the
Mm-hmm.
Black population, but there's so many Black stories that
Yeah.
need to be told that are from British Columbia all the way over to Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
There are so
Yeah.
many different people, and a lot of them are not Jamaicans. They're not
Yeah.
Jamaicans. They are
Mm-hmm.
Scotian.
Mm-hmm.
They're Senegalese,
Mm-hmm.
right? They are from the US.
Yeah.
They're from Trinidad. They're
Yeah.
from Guyana,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're from Nigeria. They're from the UK.
Yeah.
They're from all over. And I
Yeah.
thought that focusing on Black people or African Canadians was the
Yes.
way to go in terms of story, because we are not short of stories. That's
No.
one thing I can tell you. We ByBlacks, we don't have the finances to write the amount of stories that exist. So
All of the stories.
we have to every month we have to say, okay, we're only going to cover these amount of stories because that's all we can afford. People need to understand that. It's not that
Right.
we don't want to. We wish we
Yeah.
could do
Yeah. Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
just can't. We're limited. Maybe more
Yeah.
people should advertise with us so we can get some more money, so we can hire some more writers.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Calling all advertisers.
advertisers. Yes, calling all advertisers. You can even become a Patreon. You can
Yeah.
support, you can give ByBlacks $15 a month. Every dollar of that Patreon money goes to paying writers. We don't
Yes.
take anything of that to build up the site or anything. We hire writers with the Patreon money,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
that's something for you to know, to Christina. So if you want to
Yes.
give even a $15 a month, we'll take it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Calling
So
all Patreons, calling all advertisers, calling everybody contributes. Let's let the stories be heard and let them be told. And I love that you focus on regular people. Because one thing that when some people watch these videos on my channel and stuff, they say, wow, it's so relatable because it's at a level that they can understand because they're going through it too, versus way up here where it's kind of out of reach and unattainable.
yeah.
Like, yeah, everyday regular
it's
people.
not unattainable. Okay, like when I look at ultra successful Black people, I look at people like Cameron Bailey, head of TIFF,
Mm-hmm.
right? I look at Wes Hall.
Mm-hmm.
I look at Claudette McGowan.
Yes.
Right? There's so many people that are way up there that did exceptionally well. Al Ramsey at TD Bank,
Yes.
but you can do it too. Their stories most of them didn't come from any rich beginnings. It's not like they were Donald Trump's son.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They just started like everybody else. Yeah.
They worked hard, they persevered, they figured out what their niche was.
Yes.
And zoned in on that niche.
Yeah.
And made an impact. And I believe that they are networking machines as well too. All the names I just called. Those four names that, they are net credit. You have to work hard. When I talk to Denham Jolly, he's a person who worked hard.
Yeah.
He was a teacher at one point. How do you go from being a teacher to launching the first Black-owned radio station? How do you
Or
do
an
that?
accountant to the number one online Canadian Black
magazine.
Canadian magazine.
Right. So,
Yeah.
it's not impossible. You really have
No.
you have to have that desire to do it.
Yes.
And I find that people, they want to be successful, but they're not willing to do what it takes. I can tell you that Camille and I, we work, like in the beginning stages, I would have worked sometimes 60 to 80 hours a week on ByBlacks.
Yeah.
Working with 404 Media Group. Just to build it. Like, I'm the type of person right now who, it doesn't matter where I go. And people get annoyed sometimes because I'll be driving. When I'm driving on the street, I'm looking for Black businesses.
Yes, you did that actually when we were talking. Our first scene, you were in the car and you're like, oh, look at that restaurant there. So they just opened up right there. So they just had, let's talk about restaurant week. I mean, you just had it, so you can look out. This video is going to be evergreen. Like, people can watch it forever. You just had ByBlacks Restaurant Week, where you celebrated Black-owned restaurants all across Canada, not just in Toronto, the GTA. This is all across Canada.
Correct.
So yeah, talk about that, because before we get into that now, because we're going to kind of just zoom in now on right now, the atmosphere towards immigrants. This is 2024. The atmosphere towards immigrants is not very positive amongst Canadians, not all Canadians, just some, because of how immigration is impacting other things that's of course Canadians, everybody kind of deserves. Regular things like housing, regular things like cost of living.
Food.
They are kind of
food, clothing, and shelter. We deserve
food, clothing, and shelter. Yes. Right? And I mean, of course, every story has to have a villain, so they're villainizing immigrants, whereas it's kind of just the immigration policy may have gotten out of control. I'm not going to get into the politics of it all, right? Because the immigrants didn't come here by boat. We didn't just get zapped down by a spaceship. Like, we were allowed to come here, right? So I want to shift the narrative a little bit and talk about the contribution of immigrants right now towards developing Canada, making Canada what it is, building up Canada, because you highlight Black excellence in Canada, immigrant excellence, and you just highlighted immigrant-owned restaurants. So yeah.
So, Restaurant Week, first of all, is celebration of Black-owned restaurants across the country. We started it in 2021. We do 2 editions per year, spring and fall.
2? I didn't know that.
Yeah, spring and fall, May and November.
Okay, so more coming up in November. Good.
Yeah, more coming up in November. And the thing is, coming back to the origin story of that list of restaurants, right?
Yes.
One of the things that I noticed about the restaurants is, and there's something I say all the while, that the food tastes, I would say, the average Black-owned restaurant, the food tastes okay, right? It's okay. It's good enough to always, I can stop somewhere at a Black-owned restaurant and get something that tastes good, actually, right? Whether the place looks nice or not. Some of them not so nice. Okay, fine. That's okay. The thing with the Restaurant Week too is that I just noticed that restaurants were under-marketing themselves. Like, they don't post good posts on social media. They don't post enough posts. They don't really advertise. They are, again, field of dreams. They spend all the money to build it and they will come. And that's not a reality thing. You really need to get the word out beyond the word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
You have to consistently, and so it's to me, it's 3 things, right? The food has to be good. The aesthetics and the customer service has to be good, right? Food has to be, and their marketing needs to be good. So those are the 3. The other things, the 4 and 5 is like logistics, how you buy, procurement, your back operations, right? But really, what the customer is seeing is the front. They're not going into your kitchen.
No.
So that's the 3 things: the aesthetics and the market and the food has to be good. That's what gets people going back over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the quicker restaurants can understand that, the better. I look at restaurants that are super expensive, but their service is 10 out of 10. And people go there for that experience. They are willing to pay way over what they could pay for it at a different restaurant just to have that experience. And restaurants need to get that. People are not gonna be paying a lot of money for bad service.
Yeah.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
So when we started Restaurant Week 2021, it was with the vein of what is a group of Black entrepreneurs that we could help. And of course, the first people I started thinking of is who was helping me when I was doing my marketing.
Right.
Barbershops, restaurants. So we do have something coming. Somebody whispered in my ear and said, "Hey, we really need to do something for the beauty salons, Black-owned beauty salons." And I'm like, let's talk about that. Right? So don't be surprised if something comes up about that too. But so we started, the first time we did it, we had 9. It was really supposed to be 10 restaurants participating. One of them dropped out last minute. 9 of them participated. It was they had to pay to participate. And as I said, they don't like to pay for promo, right? So it was a struggle to get restaurants to pay. We tried it again, same thing. The third time I said, you know what? I'm going to go with a different model. I'm going to give it to them for free. The other thing too is that the restaurants, there were like 3 packages. There was a platinum VIP platinum general and a basic package. So the person who could afford to do the platinum package would get all the PR.
Yeah.
Because that would pay for our team to do the PR. Whereas the person who was doing the basic package, they would just get like a social media post, right? Which still fine. It was heavily discounted for them to get that post and to get the exposure, fine. But I said, I want it to be an even field where I can pull from different types of restaurants, whether it be a pop-up shop, ghost kitchen, food truck, takeout, or dine-in. I could pull from different places to pitch those stories to the media, which has proven to be very, very successful because the media likes to tell these different stories of these. Food is an easy thing for media to talk about, right? So we started 2021. So this edition that just finished in May here was the 7th time that we're doing it. So this is 3 years that we've been doing, 4 years. This is the 4th year that we're doing Restaurant Week. I would say that based on the feedback this time as well, it's been very successful, very helpful for the restaurants. And I said to them, no, I mean, really, you're not paying anything. You're providing a discount for a week on 3 items. Or some people do it because we introduced a $10 special. They'll do it on 2 items. So you give it a discount to get a new person to come through your
come here
door.
who will go back, because I will go back to the one that
Oh my gosh. Woo.
Yes.
The
one in Markham.
Vegan Delights. Vegan Delights.
I told my friend about Vegan Delights already.
Perfect. There's so many great restaurants that don't even participate. And I think they don't understand. And I think then when they see what happens to the restaurants that participate, then and only then they're like, oh, wow, maybe I should have done this, But your question about immigration and how the negative view. So I think that this is steeped again in racism, right? Because if you really think about it, I mean, let's think about this thing practically. The only people that are from here originally are indigenous people.
First Nations,
Indigenous First Nations people. So everybody else is an immigrant. If you're
everybody's an immigrant.
Scottish, English, French, wherever you're from, you are immigrant, right? Exactly. So let's just get that clear. You're not from here.
You're not Canadian.
Right.
Well, something Canadian.
Not even Canadian. There's a different name for the land before people call it Canada.
Canada.
Right.
Yes.
There you go. So when you think about that, what are we really saying? It's not, so we're all immigrants. So it's not about immigrants. It's about a numbers game. It is a numbers game. So we've gone through this pandemic, right? Prior to the pandemic, we were bringing in more people like myself and yourself than we had homes.
Yeah.
So what happens is that if you have more people wanting homes than there are homes for sale, then that creates a supply shortage.
Yeah,
When you create a supply shortage, people take advantage of that and inflate
exactly.
the price,
Exactly.
right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's in my mind, that's pretty much, if somebody can explain it to me differently, I would say that's pretty much what has happened
Yeah.
with the housing side. With the
Yes.
food side, that's more the pandemic that has jacked
Hmm.
that up. Like
Hmm.
I remember, like I'm a DIY guy, so I can frame my basement, I can do all of that. I purchased wood. I know what the wood costs. I know what the paint costed pre-pandemic, right? I knew everything, screws, everything. I knew every price.
Yeah.
The accountant that I am, right?
Mm.
And then when I look at the prices today, I'm like, wow.
Hmm.
Like a two before, I think went from $2 to $6 something during the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
300%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it would make sense then that if you bought a house for, let's say, 300,000 in 2012, that
Yes.
house is probably 900,000 now.
Hmm.
But is it?
No, it's not. It's not
Correct.
worth that, but it's
It's
magical inflation. And it's
what
not just Canada.
it's all over the world. It's all over the
It's
world.
all over. It's
And
everywhere.
and what I'm seeing, and what was interesting to, I've been showing my kids this, and even pointing it out to Camille, as we drive around Whitby, there's so many homes for sale. Like
Mm.
literally almost every street.
Mm.
So what is that tell? So what's happening now is the mortgages are coming up for
Mortgage are coming
renewal.
up for renewal.
People get the shock
Yeah.
and they downsize.
Yeah.
Who's buying that? I mean, I was looking at there were some condos here in Whitby. Station is the name of the building. And they look beautiful. I gotta say, they're right in downtown Whitby. You'll have everything right there, it's right around you. It's a nice building
Station
and
three.
everything.
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
They have one bedroom selling for, don't quote me on a number, like let's say even 500,000.
700. Between 500 and 700. Yes.
But let's say even 500, right?
Yeah.
So you're telling me a one bedroom, which
Hmm.
is one person,
Hmm.
your mortgage is going to be about 3,200.
Hmm.
What are you doing? Where are
Yeah.
you working to earn
Exactly.
that just to pay on your mortgage? Your
Yeah.
food is going to be another, I don't know how you eat,
Expense.
but 500 to 1,000. Internet, phone. I mean, so you have to be netting out. My God, you'd have to be netting out 6,000. How many people, if the average salary is $42,000 a year, how many people can afford that? A one bedroom. Remember, my one bedroom costed 146,000. At the
Hmm.
time, I was making 65,000.
Hmm.
That was my first salary in Canada, was
Hmm.
65,000. So
Hmm.
65,000 on $146,000. The bank was like, "You go, boy."
Hmm.
Right? Because that's just about double my salary. I could pay that off if I had been diligent and kept it. I could have paid it off in 10,
You
10 to
didn't
15
keep it?
years. Didn't keep it, no.
Oh man.
Shamefully so. Big
Oh,
mistake, big mistake, big mistake.
oh
One of
man.
the great regrets of my life. I should have
Yeah.
still had that condo today. Yes,
That's
but
a
yeah,
shame that you don't have it anymore. That's a shame.
that's a
But
shame. But
yeah.
again, there's a solution, I think, to the challenges that immigrants are facing, and a lot of them are
Okay.
doing this solution. The solution
Okay.
is to move to somewhere in Canada that is cheaper to live.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really wants to do it because, of course, you're gonna go into areas that where you're not possibly gonna see a lot of people that look like you,
Look like you.
but the cost of living is cheaper and the
Yeah.
lifestyle is different. Let me just
Yeah.
say it's different. But not a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people want to do it. Like the lady that there's a lady that participated in Restaurant Week. She moved to a place called Baktouche. I know I'm killing it. Buktouche or whatever. Can't pronounce it properly. But I'd never even heard of that place in New Brunswick.
Yep.
But she's there. She's running
Mm-hmm.
her restaurant at the farmers market of Baktouche or whatever it's called, right? And doing very well.
Yeah.
Doing very well there, right? I
Okay.
hope she can
Mm-hmm.
get an actual physical location to set up a a store.
Yes, and hopefully
So,
she and I can connect.
yes.
She and I are supposed to connect, right?
Yeah, man. But those
And
are the
at some
stories I
point, I'm
love.
gonna go to that part of the world.
Me
So
too. I have to go. I see that's the thing too. I try to go to the restaurants that participate even once.
yeah.
Even once. I mean, some of them I really like, and I'll go back and back and back. Like there's this restaurant I talk about it all the while. They're in a little place called Bedford or in Halifax.
Yes.
It's
In
called
there.
it's Bahamian. It's a Bahamian restaurant called East Coast Conch. You went
Okay.
there.
I went
Did you go?
to Bedford. I didn't go to East Coast Conch, but next time I go
Oh
back,
my
I will
gosh.
go.
That Bahamian food was out
Do
of
they have conch?
bounds.
Do they have
Of
conch?
course. Oh my God. That
Okay.
can't mean if they
Because
have
I love
conch.
conch. I love conch soup. I love curry
Oh, they had
conch.
everything. They had
Mhm.
everything. They had everything.
Good.
They had a
Good.
fried fish. And I don't know what the sauce is that they put on that fish, but man,
Mm.
it rivaled the Jamaican escovitch fish.
Oh.
It rivaled it. I'm telling Jamaicans, come on. That Bahamian fish was out of bounds. And they had a
Yeah.
crab rice. And just a presentation too. They had the rice, the crab meat in with the rice, and then they served the shell on top of the rice. It was yeah.
Mm.
Great team. Leo, big up every time. Anytime I get
Okay.
back to Halifax, I'm going back there.
Okay. Well, when you're going to New Brunswick, is New Brunswick?
Yeah.
Maybe you can let me know. Maybe it can be a group
Yes.
trip, you know?
Yes, I want to get some people, and that's what I want to encourage people to do. And the destination marketing organizations have been good about that in trying to use food as a way to get tourists. So it's
Food
like
tourism.
yeah,
Oh,
so you travel and maybe you see some sites, you see some, like some historic sites and thing, and then
yes.
try something
I'm
different.
available to be a food tourist if anybody
Don't
wants to
just
sponsor that.
don't just go to the keg.
Oh,
Don't just go to those
oh,
places. Go try something different. Go even try a different Asian style restaurant or a different Indian style restaurant. Something different. It's not
yeah.
just always about black food as well, too, right? Because I
Yes.
do eat other cuisines.
Yes. I love Indian food.
Me too. Me too. Me too. There's been a lot of new Indian restaurants as well here in Whitby that
Of
popped up
course.
recently, and some of
Mhm.
them are amazing. So in March of 2023, I actually visited Halifax for the first time. It was end of March. I was going there
Oh,
for
last year.
yeah, just last year. First time ever on the East
Mhm.
Coast.
Mhm.
We had agreed to do the media launch for Restaurant Week in Halifax. So at that point, we were doing that media launch model of traveling to different cities and doing the media launch. So Halifax was a spot. So I said, let me go and do my reconnaissance, my discovery tour, sponsored by Discover Halifax. So they were very good
Okay.
to me in terms of getting me a room right on the harbor front, beautiful views, really, really
Nice.
amazing. And so at that time, I said, you know what, I'm going to try to do something. I am going to try to exist in Halifax for 4 days, only eating black food.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it. So it's interesting. One thing is interesting about me. I do time to time again, I do intermittent fasting. So I don't start eating until lunchtime anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
I could exist by having the coffee in the room, get up, respond to emails, etc., 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 and then start my day to day at 12 o'clock. So the first place I'd go to obviously would be a restaurant, sit down and eat
Mm-hmm.
eat lunch, and then in
Yeah.
between that, I would meet with different leaders of different community leaders out there. I went to different events, kind of in between, and then in the evening, go back for dinner. So it was so much food. you know, one thing about black food to black-owned restaurants is that the portions are so generous,
Big yes.
so generous, and I keep telling them, I'm like, guys, you can portion control here and cut back, you can cut back on some of this rice, especially the
Oh
rice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Slavery portion.
Yeah. I mean, the chicken, like most times you order chicken and you're getting like 3 pieces of chicken. Kentucky just gives you the 2-piece special, you know what I'm saying?
I don't complain. I
I
don't
don't
complain.
complain. I just eat the food.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So I that time I went to Brata.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Mary's
You're making me
African
hungry
Cuisine.
now. My belly grumbling.
I went to FT's, because I believe they're Nigerian. Mary's is Ghanaian. Brat is Jamaican. Then I had food from East Coast Conch, one of my favorites. That's Bahamian.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Opus Cafe. That's also one of my favorites too. They are they're like Koras, like a black Koras. So they
Okay.
serve breakfast. They're from 8 to 3, I think. I think so.
Okay. Okay.
You know, eggs Benedict and all of that type of stuff. Chicken and waffles. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me go check on this Halifax flight here.
I know. Take me with you.
we
Group
went
trip.
to we went to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I had what's the name of that restaurant again? Franny's Kitchen. So she operates from a ghost kitchen. Oh, I've got to say, she made me fall in love with that chicken. That I do they call it suya chicken, or it's a barbecue chicken with some African spices. It is delicious, and then with the jollof rice and the plantain. Oh my God, no! I had that. That was the last meal I had. So she brought it to me the day I was leaving. So she brought it to me at the hotel, and I had it at the airport, and I was happy. That's all I can say.
Nice.
I was happy. There's one restaurant I'm missing. I feel like I missed one
So
of the
happen when you start
restaurants.
list out things, you know, and then you forget,
Yeah, I feel like
you forget
I
somebody get in
even
trouble.
I even went to a grocery store, and a Jamaican owned grocery store, and bought bought bun and cheese and cracker
And this is in
chips and
Halifax,
stuff.
Nova Scotia, by the way, if anybody missed
Halifax,
that point,
Nova Scotia.
right? So
So
you're wondering
between
if you can get to international foods there, you can.
there's one there in Dartmouth. I was there 4 days, only black owned food.
For you.
That's
That's good.
Didn't even go to a Tim Hortons, didn't go to start nothing like that. Any coffee I would have had must have been in the room or at one of the restaurants.
All right, we're going to try to land the plane and circle back to know Immigrant Excellence. And also, I kind of just usually have my guests leave a word of advice. It could be a word, it could be a sentence, it could be a phrase, something to empower immigrants right now. You know, you've ventured into the corporate world, you're now in entrepreneurship, now you're celebrating Black excellence, but it's also in the immigrant community. So let us leave a positive note in people's mouth that immigrants are friendly and they're nice and they're here building up Canada, working hard just like anybody else here. And what word of advice you would give to them? Whether they're new,
Wow.
they're like me. Yeah.
But there's so many things, but I think the one thing you have to do is you have to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't believe in yourself and have a strong sense of self, then you can find yourself kind of drifting into the abyss of other people's versions of you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right? So, you have to stand your ground on what you believe in. Right? And for us, for ByBlacks, we believe in advocacy.
Yes.
Right? So that's one of the hallmarks of ByBlacks. We believe in truth telling. People have criticized us and say, "Oh, that's not the truth." I was like, "Well, prove to me that it's not true." Right? That is the thing, right? So we believe in inclusivity.
Yeah.
So it's not right to exclude people based on whatever, right? And even people who have opposing views, I actually have grown fond of listening to people with opposing views because it gives me a different window into the mind of other people and how other people are viewing situations. And, just different people think differently. And to be the one thing I admire about people is when you are a truth teller. Even if the truth offends me, right? At least I know that I got your truth. Yeah. So a lot of people don't. A lot of people prefer, and I feel it's the Canadian way. I say Canadian,
politically correct.
To try to frame something so it doesn't hurt the other person's feelings, and I get that. I mean that is necessary in some circumstances. In most circumstances, I think it's necessary. But if you I think it's better to be tactfully truthful.
Mhm.
That's it. So believe in yourself and
Yes.
have a strong sense of who you are and especially as an immigrant, right? If
Yes.
you don't need to, I don't believe that you need to sound a certain way. I
No
mean, I love hearing the
accent.
Nigerian accent
Yeah.
or a Costa Rican accent,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or a Guyanese accent or
Mm-hmm.
Jamaican accent. That's just who they are. Don't make fun of people. It's cultural things, you know? It's what makes people different and unique.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure
Oh,
speaking to
thank
you
you.
for the
Thank you for
last little
having me.
while and understand learning your story. Like I know new things now, and there's lots of insights and lots of tidbits in your story. Just things that people can learn from, grow from your experience, learn from your experience. This platform is really as told by experience. Keep on
Yep.
saying that, right? As told by
Yeah.
Canadian immigrants' experiences,
Yep.
right? So amazing. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time out and leaving that tidbit for our immigrant community. We will be in touch as we continue to be. And we continue to the next time we go to Atlantic Canada, we're going together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
It's
100%. We'll
happening.
get a group to go out there. And
Yes,
thank you for having me on your show. I think your
absolutely.
show is essential for
Thank you.
telling this immigrant journey. I
Yes.
love what you're doing. Keep on doing
Thank
it.
you. Thank you so much. If this video was helpful for you, please hit the like button and share it with anybody who you think it may be helpful for. Please subscribe and stick around for more helpful videos like this, and I will see you in the next video.